From Bosstrack, it's Her HypeSquad, a show about amazing women who've made incredible strides as leaders in their industry. They're here to support you in your leadership growth, to encourage you and hype you up as part of your Hype Squad. Hello, and welcome back to a new episode of Her Hype Squad with Bosstrack. I'm your host, Michelle Harris. In this conversation, I talk with Vanessa Castillo, founder and CEO of the Rich Girl Mindset and VCV agency. Vanessa and I talk about shifting your mindset, overcoming fear, dating yourself, and making magic happen. You're going to love this conversation, but before we get to it, let me tell you a little bit about Vanessa. Vanessa Castillo is an award-winning published photographer and videographer turned creative and spiritual entrepreneur, agency owner, mentor, speaker, talk show host, and coach. Vanessa began her entrepreneurship journey in 2012 straight out of college. As the founder and CEO of the Rich Girl Mindset and VCV agency, Vanessa serves her community today as a life and biz coach, but prefers the term Your Soulful Biz Bestie, as Vanessa's purpose is to inspire us to step out of our comfort zone, live authentically, make shift happen, and create alignment between mind, body, soul, and purpose. Vanessa aims to inspire us to show up as we are all the time. So without further delay, here's my conversation with Vanessa Castillo. Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate you coming on today. We're excited to get into the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for having this space for us to chat. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm very excited. Let's get to it.
Yes. I'd love if you could provide a little intro of yourself in your own words. Who is Vanessa Castillo?
Wow, that's such a deep question, right?
It can be. What are you willing to share?
Who is Vanessa Castillo? She was. So let's see. I am born and raised in Miami, Florida, second generation. I come from a young family. So my parents had me at 14, 15 years old. So my dad is an entrepreneur. My mom started working really hard in the college. So I was able to go to college with like tuition remission, and I went to school at UM. So shout out to you. I guess that's where the journey started, right? A little bit, because before that, what do we actually know about ourselves?
True.
But no, so I went to school for visual communications. I studied photojournalism, and I kind of like went that route where it was like, I had a passion for people, but I was a shy person. So like the camera is what started getting me like out of my shell a little bit and like closer to people without me really having to do anything, because that's like the power and the magic of the camera. So out of college, I tried getting into corporate America. It didn't work out. It was a very like male dominated industry. Anytime I like got even remotely close to getting the job, I lost it to like a guy and whatever. So luckily I had like this awesome portfolio from school, and I just decided, you know what? I'm going to start my own business. Like, how hard could it be? Yeah, what did I know? I didn't know anything about running a business. I didn't know anything. I just knew how to be creative and how to connect with people on some kind of level, right? So one thing led to the next. This was 2012, by the way. I'm 23. I'm like just going out there. What is it when you throw yourself to the wolves?
Yeah.
And then in like 2015, I realized, man, this entrepreneurship world is like lonely. I come from a world of being in like team-oriented, whatever, like environments, right? Like from being in sports to just even in school, like they made you collaborate with other people. So yeah, I decided, you know what? I want to work with other creatives. I don't want to be a solopreneur anymore. I want to create some kind of creative agency. And so that was one step, right? And then I realized like, wow, I know a lot of creatives. Like, yeah, I could do all of these different things like graphic design and copywriting and photo and video and all of the things that I learned at school. But again, number one, in order to grow, you got to grow. So again, it can't just be me doing all the things. I know too many cool people who are creative and have maybe they don't know how to run a business, or maybe they do have a business, but either way, like, let's make it the Avengers of creatives. And so then VCV agency was born. And then that's when I started throwing like my first event. I started going into the community building aspect of things, which again is very near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
And then in like 2018, I was like, man, I started realizing that a lot of the people that I was meeting were women. And I was like, they're so cool. I want to tell their story in like a different way. I want to challenge myself again. And now I want to go in front of the camera. And so I started this like talk show. I didn't even have a name for it. I just went for it. And it's the Rich Girl Mindset today.
Yes.
So the Rich Girl Mindset has grown into this like amazing, you know, community, movement, lifestyle, which we'll get a little more into. But so yeah, so in a gist, when you go into a networking world and you're like, how do you say all the things in a quick snippet? I call myself a soulful biz bestie. And I do that because I think that I take a very like intuitive approach into anything that I do. And there's a lot of different ways that I can help, right? There's Rich Girl Mindset and there's VCB Agency. So I like to just open the door for conversation, meet people, connect with people. And then once I see like what they need, then that's where I come in and be like, hey, this is how I can help. So yeah, I take a bestie approach.
I love that. I love that. And I didn't know about the shy part. So that's
we could get into that. We'll get into that a little bit.
Right. So you were an entrepreneur from the beginning. So you, wow, that's amazing.
I never would have guessed it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
As you know, being an entrepreneur takes a lot of like self dedication, just self-determination, self-belief, self.
Yes, that's true. That is true. I've experienced it.
you know.
So you mentioned the rich girl mindset, and that's really kind of what we're focusing on today. Can you tell us what it means to have a rich girl mindset? Because it might not be like what people think of right off the bat.
No, it's definitely not what people think. I mean, some people, yes, and some people no. It's like a 50-50, I think. But yeah, so I like to say that in hold on. I call it embodying the rich girl mindset is when you start to understand the alignment and the fulfillment that you can have in this world by creating and like feeling the whole rich, like we're already rich, right? So now it's about creating it, or maybe like tapping into it more in order to create that alignment between like the rich in mind, body, soul, and then purpose, right? Because I think that we all have a purpose. I think that our mind is what determines a lot of our reality. And I mean, sometimes it sounds cliche or sometimes it sounds woo-woo, but like there's science behind this stuff, which I'm not going to get into the science part of it all. People could go do the research, but the mind is a powerful tool. And so I like to say that the rich girl mindset, and I even like to break it down in like the whole rich, right? Like, so rich in mind, body, spirit, purpose. Girl is like very much about tapping into our feminine side, right? Like our feminine energy and like being okay with that. And then obviously mindset is the whole power of the mind, living a more mindful life, how like the perceptions and like the shifts that we can do in life in order to, you know, live a more fulfilled life, a joyful life. I just want more joyful people.
Yes. Yeah. Well, my podcast guest last week wants to start a happiness revolution. So maybe we can all get together.
Yeah, that sounds, please, right up my alley.
Yeah.
Already thinking of a playlist.
So if I think about women that are coming into your community, what are, like, if you think about the women that are coming from maybe more corporate environment, maybe they're leaders in what they do, what do they come to the rich girl mindset for, and what do they get out of it?
I think they come for that wholesome, authentic, genuine, safe space, kind of like there's room for everyone who has or is trying to attain this certain mindset, right? Or they kind of like, maybe they've tapped into it a little bit, but they want more of it. And there's like, so there's a power, like a literal energetic power behind when women get together. And I think because of the message behind the rich girl mindset, it's the type of energy that we're attracting. So it's like, it doesn't matter the race, the age, the sex, like it's a type of person that's coming to these events, and like and virtual events, in-person events, you name it, right? So yeah, I think it's more of like it's like a mind, body, soul thing. Yeah, like, and in corporate America, it's very needed, right? Like there's a big unalignment up in there, right? And I think that's where we're helping women too, is like kind of gaining that power and that control of like, if you deserve more, you should go get it, even in corporate America, because there's a lot of people who are happy with their corporate jobs because maybe they have fought to get there or whatever, one way or another, they've got into that position where they're satisfied. And that's the whole point, right? Like we want more fulfilled people in life who love what they do, because we got to do what we do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's bills to pay and stuff, but at the end of the day, I think we should love what we do no matter what it is. And we shouldn't like conform to social norms or what we've been told or what we think or whatever.
So you talked about shifting your mind and understanding or to move towards your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious, and it kind of goes back to what you were talking about with the women kind of being satisfied in their careers or being out of balance and wanting to seek more alignment. Like how do they recognize that, and how do they identify what their purpose is? Like, do you help people on that journey?
Yeah, and it's not like an overnight journey, right? So that's why part of what I do with personal brands, because that's what I like to say, right? Like whether you are an entrepreneur or you're in corporate America, like your personal brand is the representation of you, right? So I think that a lot of the work that I do stems deeper into like the self work, right? So it's like more about learning about ourselves, gaining some like self awareness, self-acceptance, like all of these different things in order to really see like, okay, where is it now professionally that I want to be? Where is it that I want to be personally? Like, all of these things need to be aligned in some kind of way, right? And it's not to say that everything's going to be like this all the time. No, like we're definitely going to go through these moments. But when at your core, you can have like this solid alignment where it's like, no matter what kind of turbulence you're going through, you can just like kind of stay still, right? I think that's the point. So a lot of the work that I do and that I help women with is kind of that, right? Creating that alignment between self, business, and then like, even if you want to start showing up online and your online presence, like how are all these things in alignment so that you can feel good about yourself at any moment? Even girl, I've gained like 30 pounds right now. I don't even know who I am. But I still love me.
Oh yeah, you have to.
So it's like, yeah, the self journey is where it's at right there, I think.
So is it like questions that you'll walk people through to guide them to figure it out?
It's questions, it's conversation, it's a little bit of, I have programs, but I feel like, I don't know, like the way that I work best is not so like, what is it? Like
like a checklist.
Yeah, like I don't like scratching things off necessarily, but I more so like meet with you weekly, and then we'll start the conversation, kind of like a therapist almost, right? Like let's start the conversation. What's the problem? What are we really looking for? I have like different exercises that I could do to like, break some like limiting beliefs and like certain mindset patterns and behaviors and things that we tell ourselves, because that's another thing. Words cast spells. So it's like, and then I bring that, again, that best friend vibe to it, right? So like a best friend, you can tell them anything, they'll keep it real with you, but you can also be the shoulder to cry on, but we'll get you out of the funk. It's that type of relationship that I like to take into it, because man, we're all just people out here trying to do, we don't even know what we're doing sometimes. And even when we think we have the answers, sometimes those aren't even, we're not even in control then either sometimes. So that's the other thing, surrendering and learning how to like be okay with not being okay or be okay with whatever is happening at the moment, and trusting that everything is perfect and happening the way that it should happen, and that it's going to make sense one day, or, you know, all these things, like, woo, life, it's deep.
So then you go through that and people identify what their purpose is or where they're out of balance.
Like where their blocks are, what they're passionate about, you know, like, yeah, where their passions lie, what kind of stories have they been telling themselves in the past that they maybe haven't been able to get to that part of it yet, right? Because sometimes our purpose is not even like this grand big thing that we think that it needs to be, because so-and-so's purpose is so grand and big too, you know? So that's why it's like, it's an individual journey. And that's like what we really need to tap into, is your individuality, and even stemming from like childhood, right? What did you love back then? Like, what did you think that you were going to be when you grew up? Like all of these things. And then somehow you'll see like there's some kind of alignment somewhere with what you're doing now, or where you're almost getting to, or, you know, so it's like, that's the fun part. It's like the puzzle, like all the pieces are here. Let's just like start piecing it together. And have fun with it, right? Because that's the other thing. Like, if we're not having fun, then what's the point? And like, no matter what the journey is going on, let's have fun.
Totally agree.
And if it doesn't make you happy, or it doesn't make you like joyful in some way, then it doesn't make sense. That's what I say.
And you mentioned before just about the power of the mind. What is, and maybe it's just providing one example of an exercise that you do with somebody, like how do you shift your mindset, or what does that look like?
Oh man. So we could do a meditation on that. There's what's called EFT, emotional freedom tapping. So it's literally taking one thought process, tapping that thought process, like maybe the limited belief, and then tapping it out with a shift in that process, right? So like maybe, and it could be as simple as procrastination, right? Like, I'm a procrastinator. So I'll tap it like, I'm a procrastinator, I'm a procrastinator, I'm a procrastinator. And then I'll tap the opposite of that. So whatever that looks like, right? Like, I'm not a procrastinator, I'm not a procrastinator, I'm not a procrastinator, I'm not a procrastinator. And then like, you'll be surprised how like the energy in the body starts to shift. And like, because when you start to think about it in the term of like, okay, I'm a procrastinator, but if I have something tomorrow that is due, am I going to procrastinate? So on the level of 1 to 10, if I was thinking I'm a 10 procrastinator, now I'm thinking, oh, well, I'm not that bad of a procrastinator, because if I have something due tomorrow, I'm going to get it done. So that's where I start to shift the perspective of like, okay, I'm not a procrastinator, but the actual tapping is like jolting the energy in the body to actually make you feel different. And even without tapping, right? Like, you could just like start shifting like I always like to say, for every this is not even a coin, this is a card, but for every side of the coin, there's another side of the coin, right? So think of it in that sense, like a simple way to like, if you're thinking this negative thought or this limited belief, what's the opposite of that negative thought or that limited belief? And then it just takes a little bit of practice sometimes, right? Like, doesn't come naturally to everyone to start flipping the switch. But once you start doing it, like maybe you start thinking of it as an exercise or something that you want to start playing around with, then you start to like, it's something that you start to embody, and you start to see it, and you start to actually feel it, and you're like, oh, it's not so bad. It's not so bad.
So if I think about being rich, so what you're saying is being rich is not about money. It can be, if that's really where you want to focus, that abundance.
I'm not afraid of having a bunch of good, wealthy, abundant people, you know, like let's be out here. But yeah, I think to get to that level is deeper than that, right?
Yeah. Do you have an example of where you had to shift your mindset, and what did that look like?
Oh yeah. I feel like all the time I have to shift my mindset, because naturally I feel like I am an introvert, right? But I've grown into my voice, right? And this is also something that I've had to shift into, like this whole speaking thing. This is something that I really want to do. This is something that I'm passionate about, but my voice is something that I didn't necessarily like, or, you know how it could be with your voice sometimes.
Yeah.
And again, going back, I used to be shy. And by shy, I mean like timid, like quiet, observant, like in big classes or just anything with like more than 4 people, like I was gonna be quiet. Like I had nothing to say. And there were a lot of times where somebody would say something that I was thinking and I was like, man, I should have said it or whatever.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot to like step into your voice and your power or your magic or whatever. So I feel like I've had to do a lot of shifts. I feel like I shifted back when I was 18. I feel like I shifted when I was 21. I went through a 7-year relationship breakup. So that was like a whole mindset shift, right? Like I had to like now step into the power of me, who is me without a boyfriend, and I'm 21. So like, it's like that whole 14 to 21.
Wow.
Where did it go?
Yeah. Wow.
So there's a lot of mindset shift that went on there. And I traveled abroad. That was amazing. But then let's see, even like after college, right? Like me thinking that I'm gonna get into like a corporate America and that's gonna be like easy or whatever, or I'm gonna have fun or whatever. And then me getting shut down and like it not happening and me having to start a business and like getting the incorporated and now becoming this like, and now talking to the tax guy and like, it was like so that was a whole mindset shift, right? Then actually stepping from in behind the camera to in front of the camera was a whole mindset shift. 2020 happened and I went from doing a lot of like photos and videos and like all of that for VCV to like creating a whole online business and a community online. Mindset shift. Then there's like things in life that happen that you again just have to kind of like surrender and accept and trust that whatever, it's happening for a reason. It's got to be a reason. So those are all mindset, like little mindset shifts, So I feel like on some level, our mind is always shifting perspective in some level. And that's the beauty of life.
Yeah.
Like the yin and the yang.
Yeah. So I want to go back. Well, I only want to ask this question maybe in a different way, because I know a lot of people just go through life and they just live life and don't realize that they need to make a mindset shift. What do people feel when they recognize that, or what should they be paying attention to? If they were listening and they were kind of like floating along, just living life, what should they start paying attention to in themselves to determine if there is something that they're out of alignment with before it gets too late in life and they wish I would have done something before?
I hear you. Yeah. And how about so little exercise. How about thinking of life in this sense, right? Like no matter what you're doing, like how alive do you feel? And that's why I love that you were using the word living, because I like to say, are you living or are you existing? Mm-hmm. So sometimes we're just existing, where it's kind of, we're just autopilot and we're kind of just going day to day. The days turn into weeks, the weeks turn into months, the months turn into years, and you're like, where did the year go? And you like don't necessarily feel as fulfilled as maybe you could be. And then there's living, right, where you're like actually in like all these aspects of life, like you're really purposefully living in some kind of way, right? And then there's the what is it called? It's like the cycle of life, and it's like broken up into like 8 slices of pie. So it's like all the pieces of your life that would make you whole. So it's a family, friends, health, career. I forgot the other 3 or 4, but yeah. Whatever, you can even make your own, right? Like kind of like make your own circle, and like what are all the parts that make up your life, and make it like a full pie, right? Because like when it's a full pizza pie, it's a lot better than one pie missing. But the exercise is like, so you do the 8 triangles in the circle, and then you fill out the categories, if you will, and then the idea is like a zero, like a scale, right? 0 to 10. How fulfilled are you in these areas? And then like every month you can kind of like do a little self check-in and see like how fulfilled you are in these areas. And the idea is to have a nice color block, color circle, whatever.
Yeah. You want
You
a
know what I mean?
circle, you don't want a big star or some like
Yeah, you want
jaggedy
a full circle
triangle.
and you want it nice and colorful and like filled, you know, you don't want like a little half 2 over here and a little 4 over here. No, you want it all 10.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
And what that
interesting.
looks like is like, okay, so you're giving time to yourself, you're giving time to your family, you're all the things that would make you feel good is like you're doing all of those things in balance, I guess, if you will.
So if you found out in your career that you were rating it a 2 out of 10, that kind of makes you start to think, okay, well, why am I rating it a 2 and not a 9?
Exactly.
And what do I need to do to make that a 9 or
Exactly.
an 8? I don't know. Do people ever do
Yeah.
10s?
Exactly. No, I mean, no, like, let's be real, right? But an 8 is good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
An 8 is good. And that's the idea. Like, and that's how you can start like seeing how fulfilled you are in life. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Love that example.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people, when they think about change, they get a little fearful about what that change means to their life and how it, you're suddenly out of that comfort zone, whether it's a good comfort or a bad comfort.
Right.
What do you say to people to kind of get over that fear?
A few things, right? I mean, I like to say, like, lean into the fear, because sometimes there's a lot of answers within this quote unquote fear, right? And there's oh my god, there's an abbreviation for fear. What is it? Oh man, I'm gonna have to get it for you. But yeah, so I like to say, and then I like to, because I'm a visual person, right? So I like to like show a lot of like whatever, I like doodle and stuff. Give them some visual perspective. So I draw this like circle over here, right? And I put comfort zone, and then like I kind of like write all the things that are like super comfortable. And then over here, like super far away, I write where the magic happens. And then like I write where, like I start writing all the possibilities, right? Like all the dreams, all the goals, all the things that they want to do. And it's like once they see that, they're like, because it's again the visual shift in like, man, seeing the possibility, seeing how far away it is, but then also realizing like, man, if I want to get there, then I need to step out of this comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know? And it's funny, the comfort zone, that's like a whole other conversation, because I feel that sometimes you step, like me becoming a photographer and a videographer was me stepping out of my comfort zone of like being shy, right?
Yeah.
But then me being a photographer and a videographer eventually became my comfort zone. And so I had to step out of my comfort zone again. So it's also like kind of knowing yourself enough to realize like, when is the comfort zone becoming a comfort zone or whatever, you know, like it's a little bit of a tongue twister, but I think you understand where I'm going with that.
Understand. Yes. But you identify that in that analysis that you're doing, right? So
Right.
you recognize that you're becoming comfortable when it's not fulfilling you
Exactly.
in the same way.
In the same ways anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly. You got it, Michelle.
All right. I'm learning.
We're doing it over here.
So can you think of a time where you had a fear of making a change besides, okay, you mentioned you were shy, or maybe you even want to talk a little bit more about that. Like, how mentally did you move past that comfort level or that discomfort to move forward with what you wanted?
So, you know, I don't know if they do like the memes or whatever, but you know how there's always like these two voices in your head, and like one is like stronger than the other or louder than the other or whatever. I started listening to the other one more, like the one that was like lower and smaller, I guess, if you will, because I feel like she was saying a lot of things that I needed to hear. And so I just started like leaning more into that, which I guess was me leaning into the fear of things, right? Which was me like, okay, understanding that there's more to life, right? And for me, it was in the simple sense of like, maybe I think I was like at a networking event. I must have been like 25. Again, still like not who I am today, but not super shy, but still kind of like right there, you know? And somebody introduced me to someone, and they introduced me as a photographer. And like something about that, like, I don't know, I have a really hard time with like titles and like being put in a box and like being categorized as one thing. So I think that's when I started realizing that. I was like, man, I don't really like being categorized as just a photographer, you know, because I'm so much more than that. Like when I have conversations with people, there's like shifts that happen in their life that are like have nothing to do with my camera. And like these are just things that I'm thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going even back to like childhood and like just like deep rooted stuff of like who I am as a person, right? And so like I think when people started using words like photographer or whatever, again, just categorizing you, it made me realize, no, I'm meant for more. And like, how is it that I can show people that I'm more? So that's where I started, like, I guess in my own way, stepping into my purpose, right? And I was like, okay, well, if I'm having these conversations on the side that are like shifting people's lives or whatever in some kind of way, then why don't I just go start doing that on a broader scale, right? I'm like, there's Instagram, there's this, there's that. And then I guess that's where I was like, how about we just start slowly and we start with the talk show, and I'll just, because I have a journalistic background, you know, and I'm good with questions, like, let's start the talk show. And then one thing led to the next, right? So I was like, okay, now I want to speak more, and I just want to, and then the beautiful thing about today's world is that we get to do that. We have these platforms, we get to build our own stage, we have the leisure of like doing whatever it is that our little brains can think of, you know? So that's why when they say the sky is the limit, they're like not kidding.
Yeah, and so curious, like, how did you jump right in? So knowing all of that about what you explained about being shy and moving past that, but then you jumped right into talk show host. I mean, that's a big jump.
It's a big jump. Because
But you,
sometimes you just have to jump.
yeah, so you just decided to go all in.
And that's the other thing, is like, I'm not fearful of like doing things, and I'm not fearful of like failing, and I'm not fearful of looking stupid. But I think that all came from like my little journey of, you know, when I got my heart broken at 21 from a 7-year relationship, and me being single and kind of dating myself. So I call it the dating yourself phase. I think it's very important for like everyone, but definitely for women, you know, because we're sensitive creatures, even though my men are sensitive too. I've seen y'all. But yeah, I think that the self journey is where the real work starts to happen, because that's where I started getting to know myself more. And not only getting to know myself, but also realizing like what parts of me are just like me, you know, like when they like there's just parts that are you, they've been you, they're always going to be you, and then you just have to accept it, and everybody else around you who loves you will also accept it, type of a situation. So there's the you at your core, and then there's like the everlasting growing you, the, you know, I always want to be the best version of myself, me, or whatever. So I think that that's like the mindset that I started taking, and luckily I guess I was young enough to have gone through this at such a young age. But yeah, so I guess at some point I realized like, man, life is an interesting journey, and the more you know yourself and the more you're okay with yourself and the stronger your mind is able to like maneuver life, then the better off I'll be, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you learned so much at such an early age, especially being aware of yourself in such a intimate way.
Yes.
It's not typical, I guess I would say.
No, it's not. And I'd like to say at any part of life that you're in, like whether you're in relationships or not, like taking yourself out on dates and dating yourself, quote unquote, is such a healing tool and journey. And like it's a, again, everlasting one, because it should never die, right? The relationship with yourself. So yeah, I think that that's like, that's where it's really at. Relationship with self.
So when you say dates, are you talking about literal dates? And if you
Yeah, literally.
are, what are
No,
some
literally.
ideas that people can do to take themselves out
Oh
on a
my
date?
God. As simple as like take yourself on a lunch date, a dinner date. If you want to get fancy, put on a fancy dress and go to your fancy dinner. But the idea is, right, that you're actually being like intentional with this dinner. Like you're not on your phone, you're not like somewhere else. You're at this location. You could people watch, you could be in the moment or whatever, but have this meal with yourself, like date yourself, have conversations in your head. Like you're not crazy. Take yourself out to the movie, watch your favorite movie. Going to the movie is one that people have a hard time doing, but I'm like, why? It's so dark, nobody's even in there.
It's
Like,
true.
I would think that would be like an easy one. Going to a museum, going on little walks, like literally doing anything that you would do with like say a partner or a friend or a community or like anyone. Start doing things with yourself and just like be like there's something about like being with yourself that journey starts to like unfold, right? And like you start to get all these answers to like questions that you didn't even know you had.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've seen on social media people ask, are you for eating out by yourself or not? And it's always overwhelmingly people just are so not, I don't know, uncomfortable with that idea of going out to eat by themselves. And
Let's normalize that.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
normalize that. Let's romanticize life. And let's be mindful in like our everyday or our day-to-day exercises, right? So if we're doing the laundry, let's just do the laundry. If we're washing the dishes, let's just do the dishes. Like there's like little ways where we can like practice mindfulness or meditation, if you will, where it's not so, sit down for 15 minutes, close your eyes, breathe, focus on your breathing. Like there's that too, but there's other ways to like kind of do these things in the everyday stuff, But yeah, I'm all about romanticizing life.
Yeah, and I was thinking, I'm going back a little bit, but you mentioned about not wanting to be pigeonholed in being just a photographer. Are you familiar with Gretchen Rubin and the Four Tendencies?
Oh, it sounds familiar, but no, it's not
Because
ringing.
I
Like
think I'm guessing
I
you might
don't have it
be,
here.
I think you might be a rebel because that sounds exactly
That's.
like,
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go read this. Is this a book?
yeah, yeah, it is a book. I think she has a
I'm gonna have to
podcast
add
that
it
she
to
talks
our
about it.
list.
Yeah.
We have a book club, so I'll have to add that to the
Oh,
the reading
nice.
list.
Yeah. Yeah, I would recommend
um,
one of her books for sure. It's
yeah, and
very
it's funny because I don't feel like I was always a rebel, and maybe because I was shy, and maybe I was shy because that's what people were telling me, and I was kind of just like accepting it, right? So
hmm
there's always that too. Like I don't actually know, but I do know that like naturally I'm an empath, and I am like a good listener, and I like I am here for people. So maybe like that's why I was always quiet and observing and listening, and
Yeah.
like that was my way of learning.
hmm
But yeah, I think that I don't even know where I was going with that.
You were talking about what you might have been a rebel.
Oh yeah. But definitely in my like older age, because we are on the
Your
third
older
floor
age.
now. But no, even like when I just started stepping into my I guess when you just start stepping into yourself is what it
hmm
is, right? There's kind of like this like little version of yourself, and then there's like this higher version of yourself that you're like, no, I could be that. So when I started stepping into that is when I started realizing like, yeah, there's no one shoe fits all, and there's no black or white, and there's no like one avenue or whatever. Like I'm just gonna make my own street because why not?
hmm
And it was even, I do remember like even in high school, I started like mix and matching, because back then like everybody would wear the stuff that would match. So if they were wearing like a khaki shirt, they would be wearing khaki shoes, and then like brown. So and I would be wearing like the red shirt with like the purple shoes or like whatever. So I was just like mixing and matching already, and I was just like kind of carving out the space, right, for
Yeah.
like just be you, boo boo.
So you've
Oh
always been
yeah.
creative. You've always sounds like you've always
I
been
didn't even
creative.
know I didn't even know I was, but yeah, I guess. Thanks. That's the other thing. Sometimes we don't even know it, and that's why you just gotta do what you do, because you don't even know like who you're impacting or how you're impacting them, and like the more you that you can be, then the more they can be, and that's like the beauty, you know.
Yeah. Now, with VCV agency, it sounds like you work with other teams to coordinate getting client work done. Is there something that you've learned for yourself and how to lead those efforts?
Again, I think, and maybe corporate America could take a page out of this book, but people are people, right? So it's like whether they're the client or whether they're the creative on the team working with us, like let's all take a human approach to this, which is what we help brands do, is like kind of humanize their brands, right?
Hmm.
And kind of what is it, build up that brand awareness and that online presence, but like not just through branding and graphics and social media, which obviously yes is a piece of the pie, but it's more through like the community building aspect of it, right? Like how are we communicating to your target audience? How are we making them feel known, seen, heard? How are we building this conversation around your brand that is deeper than like, hey, buy my pen or whatever?
Hmm.
So it's always like, you know, with that approach of like people, like we're friends,
Yeah.
we're like, let's have a conversation, let's brainstorm, let's, you know, collaborate, let's communicate.
Yes.
All the C's. But yeah, I think as a leader, like that's just the bottom line, right? Like number one, yeah, you have to be able to lead, like you have to know what you're leading.
Hmm.
But then when you can just get past that part of like, okay, I'm leading, and you're not really thinking of it as in like, let me be the leader, and you more so go into it as in like a team environment, like how can we, when we can shift the conversation from I to we, that's where the magic starts to happen, you know? And
Yeah.
that's, I think, where like a good leadership quality is like, how can we work on this together? And then like the leadership is the delegating part, right? And giving people like a space to shine. But at the end of the day, we all have this one common goal. So how can we make it happen?
Yeah. That's great advice. And it definitely applies.
I'm over here talking
Uh,
with my hands.
yeah, I know. Unfortunately, some people
Very
listening
Latina
won't
of
see
me.
that. Is there a mentor that was important to your life that you can think of?
Oh man, I feel like I've had so many mentors, near and far. Luckily, though, I'll talk about one who, like, because she became my roommate, and her name is Tabitha Mudra, and she's like this big time activist, businesswoman, badass chick. So it was right when I was like going through, you know, I had already started my business or whatever. I think it was like a year in, and she was looking for a roommate, but she was looking for a specific roommate with specific qualifications and specific like, you know, videographer, certain things,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And so it worked out where like the universe put us together, you know, our paths crossed at the right time, and I was the right candidate. And like living, because I got to live with her, I feel like she was a like a pinnacle in my growth, because I was number one so young. I think she was like 6 years older than me. Had already had a business herself for like however many years. So there was like, you know, a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences. And then she would like push me to like grow and like kind of like step out of my own comfort zone. And she was like, here, let's take pictures of you, like my own personal brand. I'm like, what is this, you know? So
Yeah.
that's like me having, again, starting to like shift out of my own shell in this way, right? Which is beautiful, because now that's like what I help people do. So it's like, you know, full circle. And then there's like faraway mentors who are like, you know, my I call them the gurus, you know, like the Bob Proctors and the Deepak Chopras and even Oprah, because I'm trying to be the Latina Oprah. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there, universe. So yeah, I think mentorship is really important. I love mentoring. It's so funny because when I was like 23, somebody asked me this question of like mentorship and mentoring, and I was like, I had no idea, because I was like, other than like my professors in college and stuff, which are also, you know, big, what is it, whatever, they had a lot to do with who I am today.
Oh, right. Yeah. Influence.
But yeah, I think that mentoring is super important because it's like, it's how we grow, you know? And if I can give whatever I've learned in my life or any experiences off to someone else, then again, you never know how something sticks with somebody or how they hear it or when they hear it, or because you said it in a certain way, it like hits them differently. So yeah. It's important.
Yeah, that's great for you to have had that mentor. That sounds like she had a big influence in the direction that your company.
And we're still friends, so that's the cool part, you know. I remember when I was moving out, I was like so nervous. But we stayed friends. We're still friends. We still make magic happen. Yeah, so it's awesome.
Were you moving out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, exactly.
And do you have a daily routine that you do that if you don't do, you feel out of balance?
Out of whack?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's funny because here we go. I'm going to do the whole shift of perspective thing again, because I actually don't like the word routine. And again, for me, it's because like when something like, I guess routine just feels like it's in a box, right? Because for me, routine means like the same thing over and over again, repetitively, to like get to something, like whatever, like, you know, practice makes perfect type of situation. Like you're gonna practice this routine, this dance routine, or this like whatever, you know. So I like to say that I have daily rituals or daily flows that I like to do, and I kind of like have like a list of like different things that I like to do. And I give myself a window in the morning and a window at night to kind of like do these things, right? And sometimes the day looks different, right? Like sometimes maybe in the morning, my exercise looks like me running around the lake, or maybe it looks like me skating, or maybe it's me doing yoga or whatever. But like the idea is that I'm always doing some kind of movement or exercise in the morning. And then there's like the whole, so I do the whole mind, body, soul thing. So I'm always making sure that I'm doing something for my mind. So whether that's like journaling, reading, blah, 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 you know, like something for the mind. And then my body, it's moving, exercising. And then my soul, it's like meditating or yoga or something that's like, you know, me connecting, gratitude practice, whatever. So that's like, again, why I call it a flow and like a ritual, right? And then at night, it's more like wind down stuff. So there might be meditation or yoga or whatever, but then there'll be like maybe reading or walking the dog, or you know, so it's always like gonna look different, but the same, with the same goal. Mind, body, soul.
Yes. I like that. So you're not tied to one thing in particular, but you can choose one thing from that.
And then like every Sunday, so then there's weekly rituals too, right? So then the Sunday self-care day might look like, you know, I might be taking a bath that day, and I'm definitely gonna do like a mask, and maybe I'm gonna do a hair mask, you know. So there's always like different ways to kind of spread it out in a way that feels good to you. So you got, and then that's the thing, right? Like you got to find a way that it becomes your ritual and your flow, because like how I do it might not be how you do it, right? So that's the whole thing. So yeah. And I have like, I'm very intentional with like, okay, I wake up at 7, I make sure that I can get this flow done by 9:30 or 9 o'clock so that I can take a shower, get ready, and be like clocked in by 10. And then I like to make sure that I'm done with, you know, certain things at 7. I'm done with the blue light at 8, and then, you know, I'm dedicating like 2 hours of not looking at any blue light, and I'm just like living in the moment until I fall asleep. Or whatever.
That's great. Are you familiar with chakras?
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen, I've been doing a 23-day try something new challenge, and I did chakra balancing yesterday. And something you said made me think about this, because they said my crown was blocked.
Oh, you had some blocked chakras.
Yeah, I had a blocked chakra. So and
it's very interesting when you start doing this kind of work.
I just have to figure out what that means.
Well, wait, didn't tell you?
She did.
Oh, okay.
but the things she recommended just really didn't apply to my life. So I'm like, okay.
Maybe we can talk about it
I'll look
later.
it up. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I remember I went to an event once and they did like a chakra check or whatever. And it was like a quick one, obviously, because it was at an event and it was like one of the vendors. But she told me that my throat was blocked and that, so obviously for me, I knew exactly what that meant. Like it meant that I wasn't like opening up my voice the way that I should be, and that was like 2017. And that's when I think I started I was like, all right, I need to speak out more. I need to like do this work that I do on the side, like bigger. And I started like opening up my throat chakra more. And then whatever, I ended up doing like another chakra check like a year later, and it all ended up being all good. But yeah, it's very interesting when you start to feel like, well, when they tell you that something's blocked, but then you also start to feel like, it's making sense. Like definitely something's blocked there. And then you can start figuring out why and how you can unblock it, right? Because there's definitely ways to unblock it. It's all energy.
Yeah. Speaking of energy, do you have a song that you'll play if you need an energy boost or like confidence boost during the day?
Oh man, that's a good question. I love music. So here's the thing. So we have a Rich Girl Mindset playlist.
Okay. We have a Bosstrack playlist. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. So the thing is, like, I'm a mood, because I love music so much. Like I feel like in a past life I was definitely a musician of some sort. So there's different like genres that I like, and so I guess it depends on my mood. But even to feel good, like my mood, like the song might change depending on the mood. So the genre, I don't know if it's making sense, but like the song will change even though it'll be for the same mood, if that makes sense.
What's one of your go-to ones?
So like Lionel Richie.
Oh wow.
What's the exactly? I'm telling you. But what's it called? It's called the I forget, the people one. It's like about people and happy. I'll get it for you. But then there's a Mark Anthony one that's also talking about like the same thing, which is like, so that's the funny thing. It's like they always have like the same message, no matter the genre. So what I could do is, how about I send you some of the ones that I'm talking about, and then you can add it to the list. That'd be description, great. And then people can listen to them, because they are different genres, but they kind of talk about the same stuff, which is interesting.
I feel so guilty that I can't think of that Lionel Richie song, but every other song of his is coming to my mind, but not about people like dancing on the ceiling. I don't know.
And the whole video is like they're all dancing and they're like having a good time and they're partying,
dancing in the streets.
I have it. If I had my phone.
Is it All Night Long?
That one.
Okay.
Yes. All night long. All night. That one.
Right. Got it.
You got it. You got it, Michelle. We got it. Cha-ching.
And then we've started asking, just to kind of give some ideas to help people kind of improve their lives in some way. Is there something that you've bought $100 or under recently that has made a difference in your life? I used to say has changed your life, but that seems a little too, people are like, changed my life? Like, in what way has this made a difference or improved your life?
Yeah, I feel like I recently went to a summit that, made an impact in my life. We'll say that. And I think it was like $75 or something. You said $100 or less, right? Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think that investing in yourself when possible is huge, no matter the dollar amount, if you feel like it's going to make a difference, right? So, and I say that because I just made a huge investment, like I think a year or two ago, and it's to become certified life and success coach. And I think I'm like almost done, obviously, because I had to do it at my pace. That's terrible. Not a good online student. I miss going to school.
You just have to get it done. That's all.
But you see, that's why I got it done. I'm getting it done. And yeah, and I know that it's that big investment is going to make that much of a difference in like the services that I already provide and the impact I'm trying to make on the world, right? So sometimes like we can't really think about the investment and like in that term of like being scared of making it. Also because a lot of people make it accessible to make investments now, like they have payment plans and like a lot of brands and people and things are doing these. So it's kind of like, if you really feel like it's going to make a difference, then don't be afraid to make the investment.
Okay. And then have you read a good book recently that you would recommend for somebody to read?
Oh my God, I love books.
All right, you have the book club. Yeah.
Well, okay, so I recommend Girl on Fire just because that book has a lot to do with like what I was talking about, like kind of owning your personal brand and kind of like learning more about it and kind of like just diving into it. And then I like any You Are a Badass book, but I definitely like the You Are a Badass at Making Money because I feel like it really helps us shift our perspective. I'm all about shifting perspective. And I like anything that has like little exercises.
Yeah.
So that book is really good. There's definitely other books, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
I'm not gonna give you a whole list.
Yeah, I just
But join us in the book club. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about joining one. We do have book conversations on Bosstrack too, but probably a different mix of books than you're reading over there.
Yeah. Well, we're open.
Sounds good. I'll check it out. Well, so with that, is there anything that you didn't mention that you wanted to leave the listeners with? And then also, if anybody wants to reach out to you, is it okay to reach out to you? 100%, and if so, how can they reach out to you?
Okay, so yes, there's always going to be something I forgot to say on the episode, but that's okay. And yes, please reach out to me whenever, wherever. But Instagram is my jam, I like to say. That's where I, make a lot of announcements. And if you're obviously not part of the Rich Girl Mindset community, a lot of the magic happens in there. I like to say you become a VIBB, which is a very important biz bestie. Okay. But yeah, so my Instagram is at the Boss Lady V, and then obviously at the Rich Girl Mindset, and then same stuff for website therichgirlmindset.com. My personal website is still from like 2009, so yeah, we're working on the rebrand of that one. But that's vanessacastillo.com. So and follow then the journey. And vcbagency.com, obviously, and at VCB Agency. So if you're a small business or a business owner, that's the place to be. There's a lot of tips there.
Great. And I just wanted to point out for people that might not be watching the video that it's the Boss Lady V with it's VEE, not just V.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Vanessa, I really appreciate you coming on. It's been a lot of fun talking. You have such great energy, and I hope people were able to maybe something clicked with them and inspire them to kind of think about how they're living their lives and where they might be out of balance. And hopefully they'll reach out to you with any questions they have. And so I really appreciate you being on.
Thank you so much. I sure hope the same. And yeah, definitely don't be shy. Don't be scared to hit me up. My DM doors are always open.
Okay. Open door policy.
Yes. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. This is Michelle again. Just one more thing before you take off. If you've enjoyed this podcast, consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/Bosstrack, or sign up for our free weekly newsletter. It's easy to sign up and easy to cancel. Every Monday, we send out a short, exclusive newsletter of what we found during the week that we're excited about, we're inspired by, and we're watching and reading. If you'd like to check it out, just to go to thebosstrack.com/newsletter. Just type that into your browser, thebosstrack.com/newsletter. Drop in your email and you'll get the very next one. Thanks for listening.